Rose. I'm your creative guide here at Wild Rose Bohemian. Thank you so much for joining me today. Just wanted you to know how much your presence means to me, and I hope that I'll show you something that will be helpful for you as you're creating a binding for your journal. I am working with my 1940 Amalfi Coast journal, and the journal I'm working with doesn't really matter, but these are the pages here. And I've decided that I came up with 4 signatures, and then I've got a 5th one that's a surprise set of pages that I want to add. So I want to make sure that I have room for 5, and that's part of why what I did was choose to have a wider spine. This is a 4-inch spine here, and I want to make the journal so that I can have the pages removable, like what you would do in a traveler's notebook, so that it can lay flat. And I think you can see here kind of what that looks like here. There's like this on the top. I can cover it with some lace, but I want to show you a trick, and then I'll show you how I do that quickly. This won't be a long video. I measured the spine, which was 4 inches. And then what I need to do, if I just want to do 3, it's very easy. You just fold it in half and then fold it in half again. And that gives you the design of 3. But I want 5. So measuring is using numbers. I inevitably make a mistake. It's just kind of how it goes for me. So what I want to do is I want to be able to get this into thirds, okay? So you could measure the thirds. That would be easy to do, but that's the first thing I'm going to do, is fold it into thirds. You can see that I've got that where in thirds. Okay. And if it's millimeters off, I'm not too worried about it, as long as I have it centered in the journal. So do that first. We need to fold it in half. And then the 2 outer ones, fold the outer one into the crease, the first crease you made, so that the thirds are folded into half also. And I don't know if you can see this. I'll hold it up and see if it's helpful. Okay, but what we have now is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and so I'm also gonna just tear this because it's a template. So this would work if you weren't doing this kind of journal also, right? If you just want to be able to make a template for your binding. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is decide how far up I would like my spine. And I probably, because this isn't I'm not going to have something in the center. If you're going to have one in the center, I would fold it in the center too and make that your center mark. But I'm going to estimate about where I want it, which is probably right about here. I might even, because I have to punch holes here. Let's see. Use the bigger side. Right. Ooh, this is going to be tough. Let's see how far I can get. It's probably about, I want to be able to get it close enough to the edge that it gives room for my pages and doesn't smush my pages on the edge, but is strong enough that it's not going to break from the... So I'm just going to use that as my guide and set my guide here so that I know how far that is. Okay. And I'm just going to use this to make my pinches. So if I wanted to, be extra smart and make sure it doesn't move once I start. Whoops.
Power off.
Oh, that was my speaker. Oops. So just want to align it right with the fold in the center and then punch. I'm going to do that for each one of my holes. To kind of clear the stuff out of there, or I won't be able to see where I'm lining it up. And I'm not going to do all of these on camera with you, but it helps you to see that it's a great way for me to get these even. So I'm going to do that right now, which is to punch all 10 of my holes, and I'm going to input some grommets. Okay, now I've got my holes, and I wasn't even as straight as I like. This cardboard that I used, just off, it is so thick. I cut up a binder, and so it's about 3 times as thick as what I usually use, and I did not realize how difficult. I just didn't even have enough room really to get my punch on it, and no matter what I did, I struggled. So I'm going to definitely have to cover this up. But what I want to show you is then all you do, so you're gonna, I've got this elastic. This is the one I like. It's a 2 millimeter. This is 70 meters, 2 millimeter. I think this was like $7. I bought the large one because I figured I'd be doing quite a few journals. So essentially, all I'm going to do is just thread it from top to bottom, and then come to the next one. I think there's a specific formula on how long of a string you need, but what I don't love about that is quite often I end up with extra, so I prefer to string the journal kind of how I want and then cut my thread or my elastic so I don't waste it. I was wasting so much of it, and it's not that I need to be conservative, but then I'm like, what do I do with the extra stuff? It's kind of hard to know, right? So basically going up and down and then side to side. So you kind of have to adjust as you go how much you need. Quite a bit more for 7. So rather than sit here and watch me go through this process, when I go back, I'm going to go back through the side, see where it's spot. And the center 3 will have more. So oops. I think there's a myriad of ways to actually thread this. It's not really the part I wanted to show you so much. Because I think I'm not going to love, with the elegance of this journal, I'm not going to love the way that that looks. So I'm going to get it to where what I have is enough where I'm meeting in the center here. I'm just going to pull these tighter. And before I cut, I'm going to imagine that what I need to do is go down, and then I'm going to need to cut. So I am going to cut it now. And I cut enough that I could finish completing this by coming through this side. Down here and then through here so that they meet in the middle. And you know what I'm going to do right now, and it'll be hard to tell, is because I'm still going to have extra, is I'm going to pull these as tight as I can without kind of breaking my elastic, so that they create more tension in my journal. So do that off camera because it takes just a little bit. You just need to pull each one so that it's fairly taut. It's important to do that because then your journal pages don't kind of slide all the way around. And see, I'm still going to have extra. And then all I'm going to do, this extra I gathered, is tie a knot. In the center here. And then I'm going to cut my strings. And then it is really easy for me, and I might bind these anyway, so with the pamphlet stitch so that they don't move. That's probably what I'm going to do. But I just want to show you this binding first. So I'm going to just slide these in. This way, if I've made a mistake in the order, or you know, I want to pull some pages out to work on them, I'm able to do that. I'm actually going to leave the center one because I have pages that are some new pages that I've done a Freya Friday freebie, and I think that will probably even come out before you see this video. I'm not sure. But I'm not going to place it in the center just in case, because I want it to be a surprise. So my 5th signature will go in the center. But essentially, she's done, okay, and I'll have this space here. And now what I'm going to do, because I don't really care for this, is I've got some decorating that I'm going to do to my cover. But I appreciate you joining me today. I just wanted to show you quickly how I do that, and the binding that I'm working with on this journal this month. It's July. This is really a beautiful kit. If I can just give it a small plug here. You're probably kind of wondering a little bit, why do we have the Amalfi coast? Why do we have lemons? And why is there a mermaid inserted there? I had that question, and I'll just briefly answer that for you because I'm really diving deep this month into symbology, and and we're covering that on Substack. So I hope that you'll join me on Substack for more about that. But the Amalfi Coast is one of the most beautiful places in the world, as far as what, not necessarily my beauty, but I do think it's extremely beautiful. But among the rich and famous, it's considered to be a luxurious destination where you indulge in the finer parts of the Italian life. You know, the Italians have such a different way of living life, and it's abundant, it's full, it's rich. And to me, the Amalfi Coast really kind of symbolized the joy of life, the abundance that we're all kind of striving for. And one thing that came to me with that is that the other two iconic parts of the Amalfi Coast actually do happen to be lemons. And there's, mermaids originate in the Mediterranean Sea historically. I'm not going to give you a whole spiel on mermaids, but I did want to have you see that, like, a lot of my journey has been what is something very much like what a lemon is, which is the sweet and the sour, the both parts that make the fruit just absolutely enticing to me, right? There's the bite, the lemony, and the sweet, and life is a lot like that, and it has been, at least for me. And when I think about it, what has made all of the difference is my attitude, and that's kind of what's helped me to make lemonade. So a lot of the quotes that you'll get in your Cry Friday freebies will be about abundance, about gratitude, and also the mystery of the mermaids. So there's part of that is this alluring journey that I've been on, which is one of someone who walks alone for a long period of time. I've done that purposely by choice, to heal from considerable trauma, to unpack the childhood wounds that I had, to change the direction of my life, to declare a new way for my lineage. I've done that. That's what I'm doing. But it's someone that walks alone for a long time. It's really similar to this mermaid. And part of, for me, this journal here is kind of symbolic of coming home to that most beautiful, abundant, generous place in my life. And I'll talk more about that, because I've got some prompts for you on Substack and quotes and things like that that'll help you if you want to explore that part of it. If not, if you just want to dive into the beauty, come and join us. There's enough freebies. You can play along or make some ATC cards. And I hope this journal tutorial has been helpful to you. I hope to see you in the next video. I'm Rose.